What's going on, y'all? I'm here for this week's episode of Required Reading. And we have two this week, one from Wired magazine, the other from the New York Times. Wired has the article TikTok and Evolution of Digital Blackface. Now, this article came out earlier in the month of August, but this was just brought to my attention and shared with me by my brother Brandon. Shout out to my brother Brandon. And this is written by Jason Parham. And this really hit home. And one of the things I'll say is the thing that stuck out is the parallel of a platform where black individuals, black culture, black creations and artifacts of creation drive not only just the movement and the virality of and the popularity of these platforms, and of just kind of the culture and of the trends on the platform, but having limited say, limited power, limited influence, and often being heavily censored. But that wasn't the core of it. It was talking about how these cultural artifacts, how these caricatures have almost been normalized through platforms like TikTok in a unique way, given just the ability to take voices and take dances and take things and then being able to duplicate it. And so it is a hard hitting piece that I strongly recommend that you check out. And I think Jason Parham did an amazing job. And I think there's just so many parallels of this dynamic of being the drivers and the creators, but having limited say. We see this in the music business. We see this in professional sports, collegiate sports, where you have a disproportionate representation. You have those that are driving the product, really driving the culture, yet on the short end of the stick around power and influence. And then there's also the unintended consequence, which is separate, obviously, from what this article was talking about. Which is separate from at least what happens in many of these industries. But ultimately, in this case with TikTok, you see it front and center. And I think the idea of digital blackface, as tough as it is to digest, it actually really makes it very clear and plain case for that. So strongly recommend that you check this out. And then the coronavirus generation, it's not actually what you think specifically about coronavirus in general. I think it really focuses on the pandemic's impact on the low income, specifically children. And it talks about kind of children allowance and how that actually it would be one of the most decisive and actually most effective measures for child outcome. But there was this other element of the article that I just want to read, which talked about just the impact of just that economic instability and poverty, even if it's for a short amount of time, on stress and how toxic stress has such an impact on health outcomes. I think all of us kind of know that in general, but it even talked about the chromosomal impact on children and how it stays with them for the rest of their lives. I got to read this. It says money helps children in part because of what it buys: food, housing, better schools. But it is also important in a less obvious way. It reduces stress, which could reach toxic levels in poor households. The Academy's report warns that children chronically exposed to excessive stress can suffer permanent changes in brain structure and function, leading to problems ranging from learning disabilities to heart disease and diabetes. Some scientists have even found that toxic stress can even affect children's chromosomes. Now, this is kind of building correlation, is exploring correlation and causation with the pandemic and the impact on children, but obviously it's impacting people of all ages. But I just thought that element of the impact of the stress of living in these environments that have been compounded by the pandemic and compounded by these conditions is telling. So hopefully you all will take some time to check out these readings. Again, the coronavirus generation was in the yesterday's, the Sunday, August 23rd edition of the New York Times. And then a TikTok and the evolution of digital blackface was in Wired, I believe, August 4th, by Jason Parham and Jason DePile on New York Times. And so check it out. Let me know what you think. Drop some comments, share. And again, if you have any recommendations of anything that you come across that you believe is required reading, let me know. Take care.